Welcome back, everyone. So this term you have just one journal that you'll submit for this class, and this particular journal is an opportunity for you to look around your household and discover any toxic or house hazardous products that you have in your house, and see if you can learn more about perhaps more environmentally friendly replacements to these hazardous products. So what you're going to do is you're going to just, take a pad of paper and a pen and just walk around your home, looking through all your cabinets and writing a list of things that may potentially be toxic or hazardous. Okay, so this could include, for example, like lawn care products. So think of like fertilizers and pesticides, cleaning products that you use in your home, like all-purpose cleaners, like laundry detergents, bleach, that kind of thing. A lot of electronic waste, like do you have any like old laptops hanging around? I have like cell phones still. Any oil-based paints that you have, that you need to get rid of, batteries that you need to dispose of, and so forth. So you're just kind of walking around your home and just like making a list of different things that are toxic and hazardous in your home. Some of them maybe you're just hanging on to that you have to dispose of. Others you actually use. So like cleaning products you're still using, okay? So just write a list, okay? And that's it. So you're going to, and you can handwrite it, you can type it up later if you like. It doesn't matter to me. You're going to include that list in your journal assignment. Now, I'm the only person seeing this list. You're not going to show it to the rest of the class, so don't worry. Okay, so you're going, and it's more of a tool for us to kind of just be aware of what we have in our house that can be potentially toxic and hazardous. And you're going to attach it to the journal assignments. If some of us don't have very many items, especially like, if you live in a small apartment and you just don't have a lot of things, then go ahead and just list the alternatives that you use instead. So if you have cleaning products and don't have the toxic hazardous kind, what do you use instead? Okay, so you can write that instead. Okay, so once you've written your list and you have it ready, then you're going to go to the EPA Safer Choice site and just see if maybe you've missed something. Okay, so it kind of gives you some ideas like, okay, did I forget the car care products? So you might have to go into your garage and like double check those areas. Oh, I forgot the floor cleaners. Did I look under my sinks and get, the tub cleaners in there, and I forgot the laundry products. So, just kind of like browse through and just make sure that, you've kind of gotten everything before you get started. Okay. So that kind of, gives you some more ideas. All right. So once you have your list ready, then you're going to start to construct your journal assignment. So the journal assignment is basically, it's kind of like a mini essay. And in your essay, you're going to, again, it doesn't have to be like a real essay, but you're going to basically write out your responses to these three parts. So the first part, discuss why you chose toxic or hazardous products over more environmentally friendly products, if that is the case. Okay. So if you have few or no toxic products, explain how you avoid the use of these products. So for example, I just looked up one, Tide Pods. Okay, so a lot of us have, do our laundry, and it's so easy to just grab one of these Tide Pods and just, throw it into the laundry machine. So it's kind of a convenience factor, right? You just fling one in, you don't have to measure anything. And it's got like this kind has 3 in 1. So you have like the detergent, you got the fabric softener, and it's got like, I don't know, what's the third one? I don't even know. But it's easy. It's got a smelly component. I don't know. So it's great, right? It's better than the the more biodegradable kinds that doesn't really remove the stains as well. And it's the environmentally friendlier ones. Maybe they just don't really leave the smells. It doesn't smell as good, or it doesn't or maybe the more environmentally friendly ones cost more. I don't know. So you can kind of think of reasons why perhaps you may have chosen the the one that was maybe less environmentally friendly than over the more environmentally friendly one. I don't know. Okay, so you can come up with your reasoning. So go down your list and think about, why did you choose that product over another? Now, I'm not saying, like the Tide Pods, there might have been a convenience factor to them in regard, you can just toss them into your laundry machine instead of measuring something out. Maybe it's, there's a cost regard to it. Maybe you didn't know it was toxic until you actually looked at the backside of it and you saw all the hazardous signs. You didn't know that when you were purchasing it. So there's a lot of reasons behind it. Maybe you thought that the more toxic ones would get the stains out better, or was more effective at cleaning. Who knows? So you just be open and honest as to why you chose that product over perhaps the more environmentally friendly products. Okay. And again, there's no judgment. I'm not going to judge you with your answer. I just, you're just going to try to, walk through your answers, why you chose the way you did. Then you're going to select at least 2 of the products in the list and discuss how they are regulated in terms of use or disposal. So, for example, like everybody has batteries hanging around in their household. So, what do you do with them? You're technically not supposed to throw them in the trash can. So what are you supposed to do with your used batteries? How are you supposed to dispose of them? Do you know? What about like if you painted a room with oil-based paints? Well, you're not supposed to just throw the leftovers in the trash. So what are you supposed to do with them? So you can discuss how, you can actually look up like I have this, there's just like an inch left of paint in this paint can. I gotta figure out how I'm supposed to dispose of it. So you can choose 2 of the products on your list and discuss how it's regulated in terms of use and disposal. So you could go, like I looked at this website. It's called what'sinproducts.com. So this actually has the safety list. It's a database, consumer product information database. So it has like the safety data sheets. This one, it actually has some, like here in California, it's labeled as reproductive or developmental toxicant. So, New York, it has a listing as well. So it has a chemical of concern. There's a fragrance allergen. There's other things that are listed here. Minnesota toxic free kid listings. So, these are things that you may not have known when you purchased that product. Here's the safety data sheet for it. That they have to. Oh, it does say warning. Let's see. Oh, it can cause serious eye infection. So this actually shows, if we go back into the journal, how it's regulated in terms of use and disposal. So the safety data sheet for this, it actually says there's a hazardous identification. It's a category 4 for acute toxicity. So you have to be careful if it's swallowed, it can be considered harmful. It can cause serious eye irritation. You have to wash your hands thoroughly after handling. Well, I never did that. I just fling the thing in my laundry. I don't wash my hands after it. Hey, no smoking around that product. I do know that, it looks like if a kid got a hold of it, it does look like candy or something that they probably want to play with. So that is, hazardous in that regard. So, here's some things that you can see that could be scary if ingested, and so forth. So you can read, if you go to this site, what'sinproducts.com, they usually do have the SDSs, the safety data sheets for the different products. Otherwise, if it's something like a oil-based paint or electronic waste, what you can do is you can go to, you can just type in Google, like oil-based paint, how to dispose of it in your area. And you should have in your state a disposal site. So this is, for me, I live in Oregon. And I just typed in, I forget what I typed in. I typed in like paint disposal for Oregon. And we actually have, this whole website that tells us where we can dispose of hazardous waste material in the Portland metro area. And I've actually they actually have a place where you can dispose of paint. And what's actually kind of cool is they kind of mix all the paint together. And you can buy that paint, and you can actually, I think you can get it for free. I can't remember, but they mix like a bunch of, the different paints together, and then you can, I think it might be free. I don't remember, but it's kind of like a mixture of like a neutral color, and then you can paint with it. But, there's some useful information about, how to dispose of things in here. Like, where do I go to dispose of my batteries? So, here's a battery disposal information site. Lithium batteries, where do I go for that? Regular household alkaline batteries, where do I go for that? So there's information out there. And then look, here's all sorts of other, where do I go to dispose of my fingernail polish remover? So you can definitely look up other options as well when you're doing your research. So once you've found your answers, don't forget to cite where you found your answers from. I gotta, cite mine as the Oregon Metro Government website for my answers, and I'd write, how my 2 items, how they can be disposed of properly. And then finally, what is the potential environmental impact if these regulations are not followed? So for example, if I decide, okay, well, it's too much trouble to take my oil-based paints down to the old, recycling center, I'm just gonna dump them down the sink. Okay, well, what would happen if I just dump it down the sink? Okay, you can probably, or if I just throw the household batteries into the trash, you can actually find out, how if everybody did that, what actually happens to that. Okay, batteries, they contain toxic and heavy metals that pollute air and water. So if it ends up in the landfill, it's going to leach into, your groundwater supplies. It's going to leach into the air. It's going to leach toxic and heavy metals into the air and the water. Do you really want that to happen? Okay, so what if everybody does that? Then our groundwater supplies are going to, continually be, getting heavy metals leached into there on a daily basis. So there's reasons why there's, certain things that we cannot just take to the landfill. So learning about where we can dispose of our hazardous materials properly is a very important step to, becoming more and more environmentally friendly, and to making sure that we can understand these regulations, and that way we can make a positive environmental impact and also inform others of where, so once we have this knowledge, we can pass it on to our neighbors, our friends, our family, and so forth. So once you have composed everything, make sure that you are including in-text citations where appropriate. Include that full reference page at the end, or references at the end. Don't forget to grade your paper against this rubric. Okay, so make sure you're including, your reflection, your regulation. Don't forget the list, and so forth. And then you can go ahead and submit this for how many points? I think it was 30. No. How many points is this? I can't remember off the top of my head how many points it is. But hopefully it'll give you an eye-opening experience to see what in your household is considered toxic or hazardous, but also, more importantly, a way to dispose of those products in a safe, environmentally friendly manner. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, good luck, everyone.